What is going on, everybody? You already know it's prime time. It is 9:30. What does that mean? It's the 215 Boys. My name is Paul Spencer. That is the little brother. Dave Yarnell, the showstopper. Dave, what is going on the first episode of 2024, brother?
Happy New Year, first of all, big man. How are you?
Hey, I'm alive, brother. I'm alive, okay?
It is 2024. A New Year is upon us. A new season is going to be upon us after Sunday. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey, you know what? Hey, we'll get into that a little bit later, Dave. But listen, we'll talk about last week, Dave. We're not going to hash into it too much. We kind of went back and forth, arguing. Dave, shut up. You're a pom-pom guy. Leave me the hell alone. Whatever. I'm over that, Dave. A win is a win. I'm okay. A win is a win. But really quick, I got to say one shout out really quick, Dave. Can I do that?
You yelled at me. You took my head off. What more do you want me to say?
Hey, you know what? I'm over that, Dave. I'm very sorry. It's a new year. I'm still going to be the same ass that I am, to everybody. But you know what? Happy New Year, first of all, Dave. But I want to give a shout out really quick before we get started, Dave. Okay?
Okay. Two.
I want to say thank you. A big, huge shout out to those zebras called the refs last week, because thank you so much for giving me a Christmas gift. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love your refs. I don't care. A win is a win. I'm over it, Dave. But Dave, what can we talk about last week?
They were thinking of you last week. Is what they were doing.
You know what it was? I think I was. They looked on my Facebook and I said, you know what? If we lose this game somehow, I'm going to go out and cut some trees down. And I think the refs felt bad for me, Dave, because I went to church. I was a good boy, and they had to give me a call, Dave. That's what it was.
Hey, whatever works.
Hey, Dave, let's talk about really quick. We'll hash it because we got a special guest coming in about 10 minutes here. We're not going to say who he is. It's enemies coming into our ground here.
Oh, we've had that before.
I'll just give people a hint. He's usually on at 6:30 on Tuesday nights. He's like, the pre-prime time. He actually is going to come on our prime time show, 9:30. He's making a debut on the Big Boys at 9:30 tonight.
Hey, you know what? He's a big boy. He can do it.
Yeah,
I have faith in him.
I agree. But Dave, let's talk about this last week. The word of the day, or the person of the day, is CD Lamb, brother. That's all I got to say.
I'll tell you, Paul. This kid is the things he can do is just amazing. What do you have? Over 200 yards of receiving last week.
Dave, 13 for 227.
Okay, I said over 200 yards.
Yes.
I didn't know exactly what the numbers were.
Well, make sure we get that 27, Dave. Make sure we get that.
Okay, 13 for 227. How's that?
Yeah.
He is. I'll tell you, he's a blessing that he fell in our lap, and thank God he did, because he's amazing. I love him.
Man, I tell you what, Dave. Without him, I don't know where we would be.
Where would we be?
The funny thing is, Dave, I'll tell you a little bit something. A lot of my friends are Cowboy fans. I have this one Eagles fan. I'm not going to say his name. We go back and forth all the time. And he's like, always banter me when the Eagles, win, if Cowboys lose, whatever it is, back and forth. It's friendly. But the first thing I said to him right after our show was done there, I sent him a meme, and I said, did you see that? He's like, what did I see? And I said, these nuts, I feel so good doing that, Dave, because you know what? Cowboys control their own destiny, Dave.
Yeah, they do. We've been in this chair before, Paul. It's not the first time. And especially against Washington.
Yeah, I'm glad my chair spins, Dave, because that's the way the Cowboys play, back and forth. Who knows what the hell's going on? I'm glad my chair spins.
But I did see positive. I saw a lot of positive Sunday, and I was very happy about that. I really did.
I'm glad you saw some positive, Dave, because I seen glimpses and glimmers of positive negativity.
I saw a glimpse of both, but I saw a lot of. I did see some. I said some positive. I didn't say major, but
as long as you don't say Mike McCarthy shows you anything positive, okay?
Oh no! I saw positive in the defense is what I saw. 2 takeaways. I was very happy about that. I really was.
I mean, yes, they stood up at the right times. They bend but don't break. I get that, Dave, but you got a lot to overcome this week. You got to manage better play calling, number one. And Dave, the biggest thing is, I want to mention a couple numbers here really quick. Dave, last week, 16 carries for 49 yards from Pollard. 18 of those came on one run. Dave, 15 carries, 31 yards. Dave, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, our running game hasn't been in the greatest last few games. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
We definitely missed a number. That guy number 21. That's for darn.
Hey, you know what? Say his name. Say his name.
We miss a guy like Zeke. We really do. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
We have no. I mean, our running game is. It's like none. We don't have it. We just don't.
Well, Dave, I don't know all season. I
don't know if the offensive line is not making holes. I don't know if we're hitting the hole fast enough. Whatever the case may be, we're just not there. It's just not there.
before we get into some of the comments, we got a bunch of other comments.
I mean, granted, we had no Rico either. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, but Dave, rehashing that. We talked about losing Zeke. Of course, we talked about that. But here's the thing: Pollard coming off the injury, we know what he is. He's a jump cut runner. He's been a whole runner, but he always bounces that first step outside off tackle to get outside. Correct? But
correct.
Dave, I don't want to say it's the offensive line. I think it's Pollard's scheme with this running attack. When you had Zeke created the holes and Pollard just expelled them, basically. You got to pick your poison. But I think Pollard is not the back for this system. I hate saying it, but Dave, I think this team is better with a bruiser back. Like, I think Zeke would have had a little bit more yards than Pollard between tackles this year because the way the offensive line plays, Dave, honestly.
Well, if you remember last year, Zeke, it was funny. Like, Pollard would get us to the 2-yard line and Zeke would finish it off.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think I don't want to get into next year, but I think Pollard is not going to be franchised. I think they're going to look elsewhere, Dave. I really do.
They just might. I mean, who's to say Zeke doesn't come back next year? It's possible. I mean, you never know. I mean, this could be a 1-year deal for him for New England. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's going to be too much. I mean, you can't take both backs. I know Zeke was $4 or $5 million this year for half a season whenever he made there with New England. But I think you're not going to. Backs are a dime a dozen, Dave. I'll tell you what, Dave. 4th round, 3rd round. There's a guy that I want. His name is Audric Estime. We'll get into the draft later on. Down the season.
Okay. Yeah.
Season, but.
You're more college than I am, so I'm not familiar with these running backs.
But you know what, Dave? Not only the Cowboys won last week, just what Eddie said. How about them Philadelphia Eagles?
It's funny, Eddie. You bring that up. I can't. That was a shocker. It really was. I mean, it was very. It came at the right time and it opened the door for us. That's all I'll say. I'll just leave it at that.
You know what, Dave? I'll tell you what. I put on Facebook. We lost to the Cardinals in Week 4. Well, you know what? Week 17. You want to talk about it? That's what happened. Any given Sunday, it can happen, Dave. And who would have thought, Dave? But you know what? I'll take the L from him.
Hey,
fine with me. Definitely.
I'll tell you, Kyler Murray had a good game, man. He really played well. They owned the whole third. The whole third quarter was all Arizona.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, win is the win. I'll take it regardless of what they played. They played a hell of a game. Great scheme on the whole game. Basically, what they did. I'll take it. Opened us the door for us, Dave. You control your own destiny in Week 18 here. But we'll get to all the comments here. Eddie says 2024 is off to a hell of a start. You already know.
You're not kidding. That it really is. Yeah, no doubt.
You know what, Eddie? I'm still not over this. I kind of disagree with you, but I do agree with you a little bit. It was a makeup call for Dez getting screwed. I will never get over that because I was at Lambeau Field. Remember I told you that, Dave?
You said you were at that. You said you were at that game.
That was the only game. That was my ex-wife's Christmas present. We went there, and we were 3 rows off the Lambeau leap, and right in the end zone where Dez caught that. And I still say Dez caught that ball no matter what.
To this day, I'll never say he didn't.
I don't think any call could make up for Dez getting screwed right there.
No doubt.
That day, that was a Super Bowl year. That was a Super Bowl year.
Right? And it was because Romo was having a heck of a season. DeMarco Murray, I think DeMarco Murray was there at the time.
I believe yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah.
Okay, because he was running the ball like crazy. Yep. So
Linda checking in saying, "What's going on? Hi, boys." Linda,
happy New Year to you, girl.
Yes, happy New Year, Linda. Appreciate you checking in. Appreciate that. I hope all is well for the new year, 2024. Make it prosperous, make it healthy.
2024. Wow.
Yeah. Eddie says, "Poor Joe." He's referring to Joe Sullivan. Yeah, I know. Poor,
yeah, Sully.
And all Eagles fans out there.
Sully, man, he put up a text early before the game was even ended, and I was like surprised when he said that.
Yep. He says, we got CD. The Eagles were stuck winning Jalen Reagor. Yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, if you think about that, when he came out of Oklahoma, he dropped right into our hands, Dave. He dropped right in there. And
he did. He really did.
At that point, think about it, Dave. You really didn't need that wide receiver at that point. You took best player available. My God, did it work out, Dave?
Yes, it did. I'll tell you one thing, he's Dak's favorite target, that's for sure.
It definitely did. CD was a major positive, 100%. Pollard needs to be gone. I kind of agree with that. Now he says Zeke is done.
I don't think Zeke's done. I mean, I'll tell you why I don't think Zeke's done, because I have Zeke for fantasy. In the last 3 weeks, he's been getting touchdowns. I mean, he's been scoring the rock.
You know what? When you don't trust your quarterback, and
with the quarterback he's working with, I think down there in New England, I don't think Zeke's done by a long shot.
I
just
think
don't.
I think it's schematic for him, Dave. You have no quarterback and no weapons to throw the ball. You're going to run the ball, so I think that's where he's getting a lot of his carries.
Well, he did.
You know,
I mean, he's getting his carries, and he gives me one every week. I can't
sure,
deny that.
sure.
You know?
Now Dallas needs a bigger, younger running back. I tell you what, Reddy. Last year I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs first round. I wanted him so bad out of the draft. A little
Yeah,
less size, but he can run between
that
tackles.
kid can fly, man.
I told you, Dave. That dude. I remember I told you that Jamar
Jameer
Gibbs
Gibbs
taken
is
in the
no
first round.
joke.
Yep.
Wow.
Also, Dallas needs Blake kid or the kid from Wisconsin. Eddie, I'll tell you what. I want Audric Estime from Notre Dame. That's who I want. Early third round, possibly maybe fourth round. Audric Estime, 235 pounds, Jerome Bettis type running back, and this kid can play. That's who I'd
There you
rather
go.
have. Yep. Eddie
There you
says
go.
yes. We'll get to other comments. Eddie says yes, Paul. His name's yes, James, like James.
I'll
Conner.
say he had a field day against the Eagles on Sunday.
Yes.
He had a great game. He really did well.
Eddie agrees it was a catch.
James Conner's no joke, Paul.
Oh, I know. Even Stevie Wonder could have called that a catch, regarding to the Dez catch there. Zeke won't be big in getting yards. I kind of agree with that. I think he's lost his step.
Yeah, but Zeke's that 2-yard line guy. If you need that touchdown out there too, he's the guy to do it. I mean,
But then you got to have that feature back, Dave, like a Pollard. But Pollard's not getting the yards, Dave. Where last year he was averaging over 5 yards a carry. Dave, this year he's down to 2.1 for the season.
I know
Dave.
his carries. I know they're really going downhill. That's for sure.
And he says that would be a great option too, Paul. Yeah, Audric Estime. I'm a big Notre Dame fan, as you know, Eddie. But I think he's going to be good. He already declared for the draft. He didn't play, so I think he would be a big back. And a lot of people
he did declare for the draft. Good for him.
Yeah. He sat out. I think he's a big back. He's like that Jerome Bettis type, that kind of quality back. I think he'll be maybe early third, possibly fourth. I think he's like I think he's fifth or sixth on the running back chart this year as depth wise for the draft. But I would love to see him late. Go out and get him. But Dave, we do have a game this week, correct?
And we do. As far as last I checked.
I mean, who are we playing again? I forgot what the team's called.
I think they're called the Washington Commanders.
Commanders. Oh, that's that team, that mascot named Touchdown.
AKA the Washington football team.
Oh, that team. Do they have fans? I mean,
AKA the Washington Redskins.
Well, that's what I call them. I'm old school. I'm 52. I call them.
I don't know if they have. Do they have any other names of that? I don't know.
I don't know, but the major question is, do they have any fans? That's the question.
I know they have one big fan. He's waiting to come on the show.
Do they really? They have a fan? Do you mean to tell me there's fans out there that
they do have a couple fans out there? They do. Yeah.
Really? Well, you know what? How about we bring this guy on here? How about we bring this guy
I think
on
you should. He's a. There he is.
What's going on, Steve?
What's up, fellas? Happy New Year to you both.
You as well.
You as well, my friend. How you been, man?
Oh, good. Frustrated, emotional. What other adjectives can you use to describe a fan of a shitty team?
Boy, I tell you what you just said, I wish Dr. Phil was one of our sponsors because, Steve, I would refer him right to you, brother.
Man, I'll tell you what, as we enter week 18, one can only look at the season that has happened in front of you versus the expectations 6 months ago. And for my team especially, boy, those are two opposite ends of the spectrum, let me tell you.
This is true.
Steve, who would have thought in the beginning of the season, Eric Bieniemy coming in, new scheme, new ownership, new regime, new entitlement to the entire team fan base, that you would be sitting where you're at today, Steve, bottom of the division, nowhere to even look up. The ceiling is there. You can't even look outside. You don't have a sky, one of those little skylights in your house, Steve. It's not happening this year. How do you feel?
Man, initially you want to say dejected and just frustrated, right? But when this has kind of been an annual thing for the last 3 to 5 years, specifically, basically since Kirk Cousins era, you're kind of used to it by now, right? But one of the things that I take solace in as a diehard fan is, you hit on a lot of key marks, right? We picked up EB in the offseason to kind of jumpstart, or what we hoped was jumpstart the offense. You had new ownership. You still got Ron Rivera. Okay. On paper, we look good, both sides of the ball. Sam Howell's finally going to get his shot, that kind of deal. But having said that, in the back of the mind, even with the new ownership, was the fact that, because the transaction was so late in the year, right before training camp, there was no possibility of really tweaking the roster per se, going into the season. Let's be honest, free agent guys weren't sure what was going to happen, with ownership. Was it really going to sell? Was it not going to sell? Who's making the shots going into the season? And, unfortunately, a lot of the roster blame goes to Rivera and Martin Mayhew because, for whatever box they're sitting in, like they thought that what was there on paper was good enough to compete, especially in the NFC East, when it obviously wasn't. So,
Right.
Wow.
Well, regarding what Eddie says here, I look at it both ways on this one here. Eddie's a big diehard Cowboys fan, so he's always checking in. But Eddie says, Bieniemy was a clipboard carrying KC. I look at it different because if you look at the roster, what KC had when Bieniemy was there, the offense was sufficient. I mean, they were putting up points, putting up yardage, basically with the same wide receivers they have, a little bit less what they had last year in a couple of majority of the years. But I don't think he was just a carrier. Do you blame Bieniemy for this first season under his realm of being the OC?
I don't specifically, but then even back to Eddie's point there, that he was just supposedly a clipboard carrier in KC. The biggest question or the elephant in the room with KC this year, as you guys probably watch across the league, KC has been basically a shadow of themselves this year than what they were every year that EB has been there, as whether he's calling the plays or whether he's just the accountability sergeant, for that offense, whatever his role or title was, there's a vast difference between last year's KC's offense and this year's KC offense, and nobody can argue that, right?
That is so true. That is so true.
I mean, they're they're damn near a 500 football team, right?
I've never seen Kelsey drop so many balls this season as he did in the past years. I don't know if it's a Taylor Swift thing or not, but still, I don't get it. I've never seen Kelsey drop so many balls this season. It kills me. But back to your team, what I don't understand is Ron Rivera. Is he gone? Is he going to stay? What's the story?
So my bet, and I said this on last night's show on Commander's Gridiron, that one of the perennial 6 to 10 vacancies that comes out every Black Monday, you're going to see the Washington Commanders on that list next Monday. I honestly don't see as much as a liaison as he's been to the new ownership group, and whatever role or adjective you want to put in there. I honestly don't see how him and the GM and the assistant GM, vice president, Martin Herney, and all those guys survive. Like, there's no way. I give credit to Rivera for what he's done for the last 4 years here in DC, aside from, personally battling cancer and everything else. But, people in this market are bash him week in, week out, every day, 24 hours a day. But, as much as people will hate him, like, I will defend that dude because he was the right coach at the right time to come in to such a toxic environment under Dan Snyder and at least try to keep the ship sailing without sinking, right? I mean, not only was he trying to put a competitive team on the field and at least try to win some games, at which he was like basically 500 every year. He's dealing with all the Snyder investigations, all the team investigations, the athletic people getting busted and raided by the DEA, and the list goes on and on and on with all the shit he had to deal with. And quite frankly, there's probably not another person in the NFL that probably could have weathered and endured that over the last 4 years like Ron Rivera did.
Now, I keep hearing signs of Belichick to Washington. Is that true?
No, and I don't know where the rumor started, but it was great. It keeps so many people on social media running, Belichick's coming to DC. Belichick's coming to DC. Quite honestly, I think two things are going to keep Belichick from not coming to DC. A, Josh Harris and company is very analytical. They're all about stats. They just hired a guy named Eugene Shen, who's well known and respected around the NFL, to basically come in and be their analytics guy. Bill Belichick is not very analytical. That's number one.
This is true.
Number two,
Control.
I honestly feel that the new ownership group is going to go in more of an offensive-minded head coach direction. We've had 4 years with Ron Rivera. The last couple head coaches, except for Jay Gruden, have kind of been defensive-oriented. I've always been a believer that, typically for the most part, the more successful head coaches are the ones that are offensive-minded or offensive coordinators, right? And you can kind of look at that with this year's NFL playoffs. Of the 14 teams that are going into the NFL playoffs, 11 of them, their head coaches are offensive coordinators, offensive gurus, whatever the term you want to use. So there's a lot to be said that when your coach is, offensive minded, your team does essentially a little bit better, right? And, the other thing too to keep in mind is if you go defensive minded head coach and you have a really good, solid offensive coordinator, how long is it going to be until that coordinator is now gone to be a head coach somewhere else? That's what always happens, right? You have great teams that come in, whatever the division, whatever the team. Look at the Eagles last season. Look at whatever team. They do good, and within 2 years that offensive coordinator is gone.
It actually goes just like college basketball. Bill and I were talking about, with Mike Krzyzewski, Eddie Calipari in Kentucky. It's like, you play 1 year, you're great as a player, but here we're talking coaches. You have a great year. Steichen, you look at him last year. Gannon, 1 year hit wonders and they're gone. Look at Kellen Moore. Hey, well, you're gone here and you really don't do anything there.
Yep.
It's a revolving door for offenses, Steve. It really is.
Yep. And it's funny you put up Eddie's comment there about screw analytical. I'm still old school thought. I'm not a whole lot of stock into the analytics. I talked about this on my show when we made the hire with Eugene Shen. And the aspect of what he's bringing to the team and what his role is and yada, yada, yada. And, as a former Hog, TV analyst, Mark Schlereth, who played for the Redskins and Denver Broncos, his famous line is, analytics never won a ball game in its life, and he's absolutely right. But, there's a lot of stock that can be put into, decisions that are made from the analytics, data that's gotten from, each and every game on a weekly basis. So, there is some value to analytics. It's just a matter of how much you're going to apply to that.
Gotcha.
Now, my last question to you, Steve, real quick, going to this game on Sunday. Does this win really mean anything to you guys? I mean, really, would it kill your draft pick if you were to win this game? Seriously. So
it's super funny, right, that you asked that because Paul joined me on my show last night and we had this conversation. And
I didn't even know. Sorry.
You guys are playing for the NFC East division. We're playing to keep. Well, I don't want to say we're playing to keep. The fans are playing to keep the number 2 draft pick in 2024. Right. So, essentially the fans of DC and the Cowboys are playing for the same thing, and that's a Cowboys victory on Sunday. Okay.
Well, you that stadium's going to be full of Cowboy fans on Sunday. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, absolutely.
That place is going to be packed with Cowboy fans on Sunday.
It is, and one of the things that is kind of depressing to some level, but it's kind of expected. I was the season ticket holder up until this year for 5 seasons, so I saw it every home game. But and I feel confident in saying this, that probably next to New York City, DC has, I don't want to say the least loyal fan base, because the fan base is very loyal what is there, but DC in and of itself is a very transient city and area, right? So like there's people coming in and going all the time, and the people that come in and go, guess what? They're not Commanders or Redskins fans. The ones that come in from other places and go out. So, unless you're born and bred here, and grew up as a DC football fan, like the home team is not going to be your team. So, like, of course, every other team travels very well.
A win for I get it. A win for Rivera. Oh, great! It goes under his resume, perfect. But that then kills your draft pick. Why would you want to do that?
It does, and in all honesty, when you look at the game on paper, let's be honest, like we're not going to win. It's funny. Right before I jumped on here tonight, I pulled up today's injury report. And our secondary is going to look like Swiss cheese on Sunday.
Yeah.
Kendra Fuller is going to be out. Christian Holmes is going to be out. St. Juice is not playing. So basically, it's for lack of better terms, it's going to be Cam Curl, who's been our stud at safety, and the rookie Emmanuel Forbes. Who else is playing in the secondary? I don't know. Flip a coin and see who dresses to go out there, right? And when your boy CD just throws up like 220, 240 some freaking yards last week against the Lions, I can only imagine what he's going to do against our defense on Sunday afternoon.
Okay, so you're sitting there and telling me all this, and that's great. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. But what if Dak is that like though you're talking, Dak's not going to play the fourth quarter? Is that the case?
Well, and that's going to be a super interesting question for, you guys as the Dallas Cowboys fan is, at what point in time is Mike McCarthy and company going to pull your starters?
Right.
Is he going to play the whole game regardless? Is it, if it goes to be a blowout like it was in the first game, when you guys beat us 45-10?
If that was on turf, this is on grass, different story.
Is he going to do it again?
Right.
It's super interesting that, for those fans, watching the show tonight and the people that follow Out of the Box Sports, they were tweeting and posting all day of all the, let's call them replacement players or backups that are going to be starting or even the starters that are going to be sitting for week 18, right? Which is such a super impressive list. And, it's funny. I was watching the Colin Cowherd show today and he had Daryl Johnson on, former Cowboy champion.
Sure.
And he asked him this question of, whose decision is it to sit players in the last week of the game? And it was funny that his comment was that Jimmy Johnson always left it up to the players individually, whether they wanted to sit or not. And he would respect that decision, whether they wanted to play or whether they wanted to sit. So, I got to think, my gut tells me that the Cowboys obviously are going to start everybody on Sunday. And that depending on how the game goes, they're going to play a solid 3 quarters. Now they might come out in the fourth quarter, if it's 45-10 or whatever again, but if it's within 10 points, your team's going to be playing the entire game because they want that home field advantage for the playoffs.
Sure.
I agree. 2 things. I think, Steve, there's going to be a lot of screen watching that Eagles game. If the Eagles are up, I love what you said there. Being a coach up here, what I do is I want to create a scenario for my team. Yeah, you might be up 28 points by halftime, but you know what? I want to come in that third quarter, first drive of the game, and show me what you have. Play with momentum. Don't have a lapse there. I want to see, how do you play ahead versus how do you play from behind? I want to take that to the next level, even though you have a bye or not a bye, home field advantage, but I want to carry that to the next week. So I can see it both ways. But at fourth quarter, I think if it's, over 20 points, I think they do sit. I think they pull the starters. Rush will get into the game, of course. But Eileen asked, she says, going with this topic here, a serious question. If it's a blowout on Sunday, do they pull the starters? I think it's like Steve said, I think they play a good, maybe third quarter, halfway through, depending on score. But I definitely see them playing the first half, regardless if it's 40-0 or whatever. I can see them playing into the third quarter. I can.
I guess, Steve, I got to be honest. I mean, not to cut you off, but I got to be honest. I'm having nightmares of last year.
Well, it's interesting you say that if we had the same team this coming Sunday as we did last year in week 18, I would tell you guys absolutely to be scared
because I was at that game.
Because we have nothing to lose. We're playing with house money. The fans realize the draft implications, but let's be honest, players don't care about that, right? The players aren't going to tank for the number 2 draft pick when, if they win, they go down to number 4. That doesn't care.
I think I'd rather have 2, to be honest with you. That's just me.
Right. I mean, I would rather have 2 than 4, but, to them guys that are going out week in, week out, putting their heart and soul out on the field, against a division rival when they can play spoiler, to you guys, to not win the NFC East, to not get that home field advantage, like that's their motivation, right?
Sure.
The biggest question that, I kind of have for you guys is, I guess, kind of 2 parts, maybe one question divided in half is, even though the NFC East is on the line come Sunday afternoon, which is why they flexed the game, are we going to get the Dallas Cowboys that has had the prolific offense all season long, where Dak is arguably the best the best NFC quarterback there is. Let's be honest, he's better than Jalen Hurts and even Brock Purdy. Or are we going to get the Dallas Cowboys that plays day and night from
like
home
down to the competition?
Away, kind of like the Jekyll and Hyde type deal.
Right.
I
mean, I look at it this way too, Steve. I look at it kind of two ways. The main way I look at it is on the Washington side, these guys are playing for jobs too, for next season. I mean, these kids are, I'm not saying they're going to get them. I'm just saying they're playing for, trying to stay on the team for next year,
Yep.
I mean, do you not see that?
Yeah. Every week is basically an audition to continue your career, right? Whether it's with the current team, whether it's with a different team, just to kind of basically stay relevant in the league. And unfortunately with a lot of these injuries, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, man, there's like at least 8 to 10 guys that are either on the IR or as of this week.
It's mostly your defense, Steve.
It is, like I'm looking at the injury report. So these are the guys that aren't on the IR, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on the injury report are defensive guys.
Steve, it's not to cut you off, but Steve, it's bad when you have to go down the depth chart and look for Kai Blue Kelly, one of your corners. I didn't know who this guy was.
Absolutely.
Kai Blue Kelly.
But it goes back to what Dave said, that, for these guys that are filling in, who are the backups of the backups of the backups, like it's their opportunity. It's their chance to, make a statement for them personally to, either be on this team or be on somebody else's team or somebody's practice squad, for the 2024 season. So,
I mean, not knowing who their coach is going to be next year anyway, but they're still playing for a job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a number one, you're playing with house money here. Vice versa, playing for a draft pick. I understand that, but to me, it is an audition. You're this bad. You don't know who your coaching staff's going to be. And number one, let's say the name Sam Howell here. We don't know if he's a starting QB next year. All the rumors are Caleb Williams, Drake May. We don't know. We don't know what he's next year. So, what better way to come out there and say, hey, you know what? I can beat this Cowboys in a win or go home game. Not a win and go home game, but to take away the division title from arguably the best team in the NFC East right now, of course. But to beat them, this is a statement game for Sam Howell as well.
Sure.
Because nobody's safe on this team, Steve. You agree with that? Nobody is safe on this team right now.
Yeah, as much as fans would like to debate that, I think in all honesty, there's probably only three, maybe 4 people that are safe on this team.
I can say 4. I can say 4, Steve. 4.
I can name at least 3.
Jonathan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Tress Way, and Sam Cosmi, the right guard.
It's bad when you say a kicker, Steve. It's bad when you say a kicker, isn't it?
That is bad, Steve. That is bad.
It is, but it's interesting because you brought up Sam Howell, and Sam Howell has had a roller coaster of a season, and the realist fans of the Commanders knew that going into this season, that it wasn't going to be all glitz and glory and good times with this guy. It was going to be literally a roller coaster with Sam Howell.
How did Sam Howell get the job again? Is my question, because I know he lost it.
So in week 16, he got benched for Jacoby Brissett, the backup.
Jacoby Brissett, right? Okay.
Which then started the whole quarterback debacle, because if you'll remember, in the second half of that game, Brissett came in, runs the same offense that EB basically has been calling for Howell the entire season, and Brissett proceeds to go 3 drives in a row, scores 2 touchdowns and a field goal, on 3 straight drives, and everybody's like, "Holy shit! Like, why can't Sam Howell do that?" It's the same offense. Like, we're not changing anything. All we did was change quarterbacks.
Right.
Jacoby Brissett was slated to start last week. However, last Friday, right before traveling, actually before the home game against San Fran, goes to the coaching staff and the medical staff and says, "Hey, I tweaked my hamstring. Like, I'm no good."
Okay. Gotcha.
So then they basically deactivated him, signed Jake from State Farm to the active roster as the backup to Sam Howell.
Okay.
Sam Howell comes in, does okay, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, ample yards, whatever, nothing spectacular. But apparently Jacoby Brissett still is not going to go in week 18. So it's going to be basically Howell and Fromm again for Sunday afternoon against the Cowboys. So, now that my question is, and I've kind of trying to watch some videos and pressers to see how Sam's going to react, going from being benched 2 games in a row in week 15, 16, and then basically being started by default, right? Like,
right. Sure.
The head coach and offensive coordinator weren't going to start him last week, and they weren't going to start him this week. It just so happens that Brissett can't go himself, So is he going to play with a chip on his shoulder and try and come out and, be the NFL, kind of like what he was when he was the NFL passing leader,
Sure.
Halfway through the season. So it's interesting because our quarterback Condry is kind of like yours, right? You guys are like, which Dak Prescott's going to show up? And we're like, which Sam Howell is going to show up? Am I going to get the Sam Howell that's going to, go 65% completions and 300 yards, a couple touchdowns and 0 or 1 interception? Or am I going to get the Sam Howell that throws for 150 yards, no touchdowns and 3 picks?
Well, Dak's been pretty consistent all year, though. I can't say. I mean, Dak's been pretty consistent all season for us.
But the biggest thing that I worry about is, did Sam learn enough from the first time facing you guys in November and that 45-10 loss to kind of correct things for Week 18?
Well, I think going to that game, Steve, anything is a positivity. Anything could be better than that game. So I think if they look at it, schematically, I think it's a 9-day. You can't really take away anything from that first game. I would throw that out the window. New regime here coming in. We lost a lot of our players from that week to here. But I want to get into this game here, Steve. Let's talk about our offense versus you called it Swiss cheese secondary, Steve. Huh? Steve, let's just talk about this. I mean, our weapons, of course, what we have on the offensive ball, everybody knows, the only downfall of this team here is the running game right now for Dallas. You guys have been pretty good against the run, but how do you compare against CeeDee Lamb in a slot when you guys don't even have a number 1 corner playing this week, Steve?
That's going to be the hardest challenge for our defense, right? Is how and who is probably the bigger key. Yeah. Who we're going to match up with CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. And I feel confident in saying this, but if by some stroke of God we can figure out how to limit or isolate CeeDee Lamb, we have a really good chance at making your offense struggle, right? And the reason I say that is we're not the greatest at the run stop, but we're not the worst. Mm-hmm. So, we'll give up that 100 yards rushing to a team a year. Usually it's never more than 100. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of like in the middle, for that. But one of the biggest things when I look at your offense, when I compare it to the defense is, I hate to say this, but if we can limit or take CeeDee Lamb out of the picture, there's not very much production behind CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. True. Like that offense runs through CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. You got some contributors, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, Tolbert, and the whole 9 yards. But, as far as yardage or catches, like they're not collectively, I think.
Hey, Paul, could this be an MG game?
What's that?
I said, could this be an MG game?
No, don't even say it. Don't even. He's still missing on a damn milk card. Don't even say it.
He's had good games in Washington before.
He's not worth my time right now. But Steve, I agree with you 100% what you said there. Coaching, it's all about levels of play. It's all about levels when you control offenses. CeeDee demands, entirely 90% of the field, of course. But if for some, Steve, the only thing I can say is go to church on Sunday, pray for this to happen. But, if it does happen where you can control CeeDee, bring that safety down to that level and play like man on man with him, safety over the top. And then you play man on man the other parts. But Dallas is good when CeeDee controls the line where he plays levels, Steve. It's either a mid-level game, slant game, because if you look at it, when they're on point, there's never two wide receivers or one wide receiver near CD Lamb. It's always controlling space with CD Lamb. And if you take away Lamb, that secondary level of passing game is not there. I've seen it all season where they struggle. You take away the keys to the Ferrari. Well, you know what? You're stuck with a Yugo driving now, basically, is what I look at. And that goes to what you said there. That to me is scary. Teams have tried it, but Steve, who's going to cover him? Did you say Fuller and Juste is out this week?
Yeah, Saint Juice is more than likely going to be out. Fuller didn't practice today.
Right.
He's probably not going to practice tomorrow.
Jeez.
Holmes is already out. Curl's in. Quad Martin is questionable. So that's what I'm saying. Like our secondary is basically Swiss cheese. But if there's one thing that you guys as the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy and your play callers can kind of learn from is, like, we don't do very well, and this is basically a knock on my own team. We don't do very well against an opposing team's number one, right? Mm-hmm. Look at what AJ Brown did to us twice. Look at what you guys did the first time around. Look at what Tyreek Hill did to us. Look at what Stephon Diggs did to us. For whatever reason, like, we're just not very good at.
What did Debo do to you guys last week?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it wasn't bad, but it wasn't necessarily like a star-studded Pro Bowl performance either.
Mm-hmm.
Did Purdy play last week against you guys?
But the catch with that was,
Purdy did play last week. Okay, I wasn't sure.
That offense has, CMC and George Kittle and everybody else. Like, we could take Debo out of the picture, and they still got five guys.
Well, CMC's hurt, isn't he?
So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So
I heard CMC got hurt last weekend.
Did he
he's
really?
out this week. Yeah, he's out this week. They're sitting
everybody. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Niners are sitting everybody, just like half the teams in the NFL right now.
One game nugget that I'm very interested to see for both sides, and I think it might tell the tale of how the game will go, is to see how both Mike McCarthy and EB can get back to a balanced offensive play calling, right?
Gotcha.
DC fans have been, brutal against EB for abandoning the run, and when we do run the ball, we're 5, 6, 7 yards a clip. Like, we're doing decent. But the problem is, like, that, for whatever reason, that just goes right out of EB's mind. And then we go pass happy. And, we know what that happens when you're almost basically, second in the most sacks in the NFL.
Right.
And then I look at, your game last week against the Lions when, now granted, when Dak's going, it's CeeDee Lamb so often, so good. Why do you need to run the ball? But, I'm looking at your stats, and you guys had 61 total yards rushing or 51 total yards rushing or whatever it was.
21 carries, 61 yards, and 18 of that came off of one run for Pollard. So basically you're at 30 or 40 some yards rushing for 15 carries, Steve. No way. Yeah. Not going to happen,
Nope.
Bad. But Steve, I want to ask you something really quick regarding, the offense. Of course, it goes to us, check mark to us there for the offense here. But with this defense is under Dan Quinn, plays 11 hats, one ball. Okay. With your offense here, you have some weapons. I'm not going to discredit your weapons here. You got some weapons, of course. McLaren scares me, of course. The key to this game is how healthy is Logan Thomas?
I was just thinking that.
Man, Logan Thomas is hit or miss.
Right.
He kind of reminds me, if you guys remember, like 2015 to 2019 or 20, whatever it was. He's basically just a little bit more productive Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed was a phenomenal tight end for us. Problem is Jordan Reed can never stay on the field.
Sure.
Yeah, he was always
Logan Thomas is basically a Jordan Reed 2.0. That he's great, and I want to say he's good in blocking. He's great in space. He has the flashes of being, a Kittle or Kelsey, but that's never sustained, right? And for the most part, like even for this season, like I think he missed a third of this season already, maybe even up to a half. So he just can't ever be healthy enough to stay on the field. But if he does, then it just gives Sam Howell another weapon to use. The biggest concern for EB and Sam Howell is going to be how fast they can get rid of the ball. You know, and I'd like to think that, unfortunately, a lot of those sacks or busted plays or whatever are on Sam Howell because, you know, Brissett goes in there, gets rid of the ball, does his reads, check downs, whatever, gets rid of the ball. Sam Howell just hangs onto the ball, whether he's not reading defenses right, whether he's not reading the coverages, you know, who's playing man, who's rotating, doing whatever, blitzes, stunts. It's just something there with Sam Howell that he needs to process better. You know, and when you have the defense led by Micah Parsons basically coming down your throat every play, you know, that's going to be the tail for Howell, right? I mean, he could throw to McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel, and Logan Thomas. You know, there's weapons are there, but, you know, if he's not making the right reads or getting rid of the ball, you know, it doesn't no good to have 4 or 5 weapons out there.
I agree.
The ball too.
Now with this game here, Steve, you know, I would rather play Sam Howell, honestly, exactly what you said there. There's no clock in his head to get rid of the ball fast. There's no 1, 2, 3-step drop. It's always, you know, the 3-step drop turns into a 5-step drop, hold the ball, read, you know, cover sack, basically what I see with Howell. With Brissett, exactly what he said. It's timing. It's a clock in your head. 1, 2, 3. Get the ball out quick. Evade the defense. You know, move up in the pocket. You know, side to side, whatever you may do. I'd rather play Sam Howell. But the way I look at this, I always look at it from an offensive side of the ball here. If I'm the Commanders, what I'm doing is with Howell, I'm putting him in gun next to Robinson as well in the backfield. That gives him, you know, an extra timing clock there, 1 second off the ball right there from a defensive start, number one. I'm going to be running a lot of, you know, fakes to Robinson. I'm going to go 4 wide because you mentioned the wide receivers, Steve. You mentioned, you know, McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. And hell, you know what? If you don't want to use Logan Thomas, I mean, I would use Logan Thomas if the pass rush is there. You go 12 personnel, you use that tight end there. But if not, I'm bringing in a Pringle, someone like that, Dynamic Brown. I'm going 4 wide, quick slants, inside, outside, move the sticks fast. You know, just continue it, you know, 3-yard, 4-yard swing passes, whatever you have to do, because I think Dallas is going to shut down Robinson. I really do on this game, but you got to stay balanced. But offensive side of the ball, I think if I'm the Commanders, I'm going to come out throwing the ball a lot faster than usual to keep Dallas on their heels, basically. Because, yes, we know Deron Bland, we know Gilmore can play, but those second, third, and fourth quarters are not the greatest for our team. And that's where we beat a lot. That's where the tight end comes to play too. If Logan's healthy, if not, go 3-4 wide.
You know, and you bring up a really good point that it'll be interesting to see if, in fact, the Cowboys can get up early, right? Because you guys play a lot better home, away, whoever the opponent is, when you're playing ahead and not from behind. It's kind of been a tale for you guys this season, just like playing at home versus away has been. You know, and you're absolutely right. I think the stat is like 90% of Sam Howell's snaps have been from the shotgun this year, and not under center. You know, I don't know if that's an EB decision, a Howell decision, or just, you know, trying to get away. The first game, maybe 2, Arizona and Denver, there's a little bit under center, you know, and that's when, you know, he was getting sacked like 10, 12 times a game or whatever. And ever since then, he's basically taken every snap in the gun in some shape, form, or fashion. So it definitely has helped out to some extent. I think there's just a learning curve that we're still trying to adjust to see if Sam Howell is that guy. You know, so it'll definitely be interesting. The one question I have for you guys, which will be interesting, is how much. I mean, I know that they're at the same time, but how much of what the Eagles are doing in their game is going to affect you guys playing at FedEx Field? Do you think?
I can actually answer that.
Jerry Jones is going to have a TV or a headset?
No, I think we just have to take care of business and don't worry about what the Eagles are doing. Honestly, don't even worry about what Philadelphia's doing. It doesn't matter. Just win your game. Just win the game.
That's easier said than done with Jerry Jones. I
Well,
guarantee it.
I get it, and it is. You're right, but I'm saying if you
I guarantee. Here's a sports bet for you right now. If all your
focus
bettors
at the task in front of you, don't
get
worry
that,
what's going on.
Knowing Jerry Jones, I guarantee you, he's going to have a little TV or his phone on there. They're going to show him glimpse and glamour, watching his TV because that's Jerry Jones, PR Jerry Jones. But I agree. Take care of business because you control your own destiny. You were given a Christmas gift by the Eagles. Go out and unwrap your Christmas gift. Get the new car that you've always been waiting for. Go out and win. But you know what? Even in the players' minds, honestly, Steve, I think that a lot of players are going to be looking at that little, I don't know what the, FedEx Seals has a jumbo thing, scoreboard.
They don't. I don't know. I've seen that before with that. I don't know how that's kind of weird up there how they have that.
Well, I don't care what they have. I guarantee you somebody's going to be on the sideline over there. A fan's going to be over there saying the Eagles are down 30. The Eagles are up 20. I think that's going to play into a lot of players' heads. It does. You say what you want. It does.
I don't think so.
It does. It does.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does at all.
I think it does.
Hey, maybe one of our fans can get Jerry mad and take one for the team and pull a Tepper. That'd be a great highlight for the weekend.
But Steve, what is $30,000 to Jerry Jones?
Nothing.
30. The Tepper got fined 300.
300. That's what I mean. 300,000. Yeah.
When you're a billionaire, 300 doesn't mean anything. But,
he just pulls out a wad right here and says, "No problem. I got that."
I think the fans will be looking at the scoreboard more than the players will.
I think
honestly.
Players do too.
I bet they will.
See, I don't think they do. I just don't.
I'll tell you what, even Little League last year.
I mean, if you're on the bench and you're not playing, I can understand that.
No, I'll tell you what. I think it's fans number one and it's number two players. They both do.
If you're in the game,
well, Dave, I'll tell you what. Last year when we knew we were number 2 seed, but we wanted to see the other team that I lost twice. The last 2 years back to back. We had a fan and one of the players that were sitting on the bench. He had his phone. He kept looking down. He's like, "Hey, coach, Aliquippa's up 42-0 at halftime."
See,
that's David. It plays a long way. A lot of people
focus out. Just focus that out and just beat them.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. But Steve, we'll get back to this game here. What scares you? I mean, I know you mentioned Parsons on the defense. How do you do? Do you make an extra chip off him because he lines up in multiple positions too? Linebacker, outside, Mike linebacker, Jack linebacker, and hell, he's even been over the nose.
Quinn's got him moving everywhere.
How do you suffice that? What do? Do you bring in a Logan Thomas? Do you bring in someone like that? Do you bring in a Cole Turner or a Bates just to help 12 personnel on Micah Parsons?
You either have to go to more of a spread offense.
Yes.
And put people further wide out and basically make it lineman against lineman.
Yep.
And whether you use the running back to kind of chip somebody, use the tight end or whatever. Look, as much as I want to see the big yardage gains and the big plays, they're basically off the table. And they pretty much have been most of the season. I mean, every once in a while you get a bomb to McLaurin or Samuel or whatever, but let's be honest, the time to develop just isn't there. So, any passing play above 15 yards is probably not going to happen on Sunday.
Is Curtis still healthy or what's his story?
He is, but, that's the other thing is that kind of drives fans crazy is that EB doesn't do a very good job, whether it's now, whether it's the play calling or even whether it's Sam Howell at the line, and kind of reading what the defense is doing and giving him, throughout the season, as you look at it, we're not getting the playmakers the ball, and we're not necessarily designing plays or running plays to get our playmakers the ball. Terry McLaurin needs 56 yards to have a 1,000-yard season. He should be having 12 to 1,500 yards this season. And that's just not happening. So then the question becomes, why is that? So I think it's going to be a lot of, 15 and less passing, whether it's quick slants, ins, outs, whatever, because of the time to develop, deep passing plays just isn't going to be there between our offense and your defense. So
I've seen Curtis Samuel have good days, and I mean there's been times where he's bum rush teams. I've seen him do that. So I mean,
Steve, to your point, I think that's a great thing what you said there. I think that's a key to a Commander's prayer to say if they win this game to keep that Dallas offense off the field. Short little digs here. spread the field, take what the defense gives you. You're not going to get that long ball. If you do, hey, you know what? You get it once in a while. But I think the key to this game is going to be time management on the Commanders' part. I think they need to control the sticks, basically, is what they're looking at.
Yep. Yeah. And as much as I think that, I would love to see that the Dallas Cowboys lose, and us, get that victory, that divisional win and everything. I just don't see our defense holding up to the potential that you guys can do for starters.
Agree.
And I just don't see our offense being consistent enough going into week 18 to be efficient and productive enough against your defense as well.
Right.
I mean, you guys have 7 Pro Bowlers this season for a reason. And that just speaks volumes to both sides of the ball of what you guys are doing. So
agree. Well, Steve, before we get you out of here, we don't want to keep you up too late. This is prime time.
Got the baby to look after. Come on.
Not only that, this is prime time. Steve's not used to prime time. You know what I mean? He's at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
He's a 6:30 guy.
Yeah, we're the 9:30. We're prime time. It's the Dallas Cowboys. But Steve, before we get out of here, 3 things. I want you to give me a final score for your prediction here for this game here.
So, unfortunately, as much as I would love to see this a close game, I almost see a repeat of what happened in November.
Wow.
The reason I say that is, I look at what Miami did to us. I look at what Buffalo did to us. I look at what, even the Giants did to us. And even though the 49ers, game last weekend was like 27-10 or whatever, it had the potential to be a lot higher.
Sure.
So
you guys had a lead in that game too at one point.
We did for a hot minute, but that's about as long as it lasted.
Mm-hmm.
So I can honestly see this game being like a 42-17. We're going to score. Look, I get it. We're going to score a touchdown. We're probably going to end up having Joey Sly kick a bunch of field goals. So we'll probably get 17 or 20. But on the flip side of that, I also see you guys lighting it up for probably another 40 spot.
Okay.
Now the question is that 42 going to come in the first 3 quarters and then Dallas decides to sit their starters? Or is that going to be across all 4 quarters?
Wow.
Because the other thing that we're notorious with this season is we get behind a lot early and can't rebound from being in the hole in the first half, so we are very good at giving up, 17, 20, 27 points in the first half. And then kind of going from there. So, for you guys to score 24 in the first half, give or take a few, is definitely not out of the realm of things happening.
Okay. Well, Steve, something we always do on this show here, we always do bold predictions. Give me one bold prediction of this game. And I don't want to hear you say Dak Prescott throws for 500 yards. That would be a bold prediction, but give me one bold prediction this weekend. We'll revisit this, come next week. We'll see who's closest to it. But give me one bold prediction here, not score-wise, player-wise, or statistical-wise.
So since it's your show and, there isn't much to look forward to on my team, I'm going to give you a Cowboys pick here. Only because Sam Howell hasn't been the greatest, as we know.
Oh boy!
Don't be surprised if Bland has another pick 6.
Wow, he's due.
Okay.
I mean, he had one in the first time that we met,
sure,
and he had like 4 in a row or whatever it was. I would not be surprised if he has another one.
All right, so Steve, you got the score 42-17, and you got the Cowboys. Deron Bland picking a pick 6 to the house, huh?
Yep.
All right, Steve. Steve, before you get out of here, let us know every time where they can find you. Your show, any plugs that you want to get out there, or shout outs, whatever you want to do. Let everybody out there know.
I'm the host of Commanders Gridiron every Tuesday night at 6:30 to 7:30, where we talk all things on and off the field about the Commanders. And my Twitter tag is there at the bottom of the screen underneath my name as well. So. We have guests from each divisional team on. And actually, before I go, I just wanted to ask you guys, has anybody checked in on poor Joe after this past weekend's game with the Eagles?
I haven't heard from Joe.
Live? I haven't.
Wait a minute. Steve, wait a minute. I went to Walmart tomorrow morning. I thought that face looked familiar on that milk carton. But no.
No, my question to you is, Mr. Man over there, Mr. Washington Man, will they be the Commanders next season?
They will.
will,
I don't see them rebranding for next season. There's talk of rebranding, but it won't. I don't think it'll be until at least the 2025 season.
Is there any chance in the world they go back to the Redskins?
Nope.
Zero.
Zero.
All three.
I heard something they could possibly do that. I don't know.
Josh Harris, Mitchell Rales, and Mark Ine, the three top guys, have all come out and said already that the Redskins is off the table for a rebrand.
Really?
So,
wow. Okay.
Get away from
I think it would make sense to go back to the Redskins. That's just me, but
they want to get away from Snyder.
I'll throw this little tidbit out there before I leave. And, one of the things that Josh Harris has come out twice in the last month and said, everybody thought that a rebrand is coming. And Harris said it's actually at the very bottom of his list to do. So, maybe a rebrand might not even be on the table. New stadium, new coach, new team, blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah. Who knows? I mean, if we start winning in 24 and 25, they might not even rebrand.
Gotcha.
What it all comes down to, right?
I was just curious because, you've changed it 3 times already, so I don't know what to think.
All right, brother, we appreciate you hopping on. And, I want to say good luck. But I really want to say that. I want to say, hopefully you get a prayer, maybe, Steve, this week.
No, I think the number 2 pick is great for you guys. I really do. Yeah. I think that's where you should be, and that's where you should just aim for at this point.
Hey, it'll give me plenty to talk about on my show.
There you go. Exactly.
Yep. Well, Steve, thank you for tuning in, brother. Appreciate your input about the Commanders this week. And you know what? Hey, I hope it's a good game. I hope it's not a 42-17 game. I hope it's a little bit closer. Outcome, of course, us. But Steve, thanks for tuning in, brother. I appreciate you hopping on, bro.
Thank you for having me, fellas.
Thanks, Steve.
Definitely. All right, there's everybody. That's Steve Loftman from Commanders Gridiron every Tuesday, 6:30. Check him out. Hashtag under Steve O. Loftman on Twitter. Check him out. Follow him. Great guy. Great host. Steve, I'll see you then, brother.
Have a good night, fellas.
All right, now.
Take care, everybody. Wow.
All right, Dave. Let's get back into this here really quick.
He's very he knows his team pretty good.
He does. We only have the best hosts here. So great input about the Commanders here, Dave. But we'll be on another 10 minutes here. What do you think about this game? What scares you? What doesn't scare you, Dave?
I'm seeing nightmares of last year.
Don't say that, Dave.
I know, but I can't help it. I don't know why. I just.
You know what? I kind of agree with you, Dave. I mean, I'd rather play Sam Howell.
Something's telling me, like, this 13-point favorite, it scares the crap out.
Here's the thing. That lucky number 13, and people hate 13, superstitious 13. Of course, there's no elevator floor on 13. Dave's 13 scares me. Let me tell you why.
I'm all ears.
Arizona was minus 13.5.
Exactly.
The Commanders minus 13.5.
Mm-hmm.
A little scary here, Dave. Different scenario, more to play for.
I mean, I get that his whole team's on the IR and.
Well, they're depleted. They're depleted, Dave. I mean, they have,
and I get all that, and
they have seven corners on the IR right now.
I mean, if we're up in the fourth quarter and if we're up big in the fourth quarter, take everybody out. It's not worth it because you have
you have to play at least 3 quarters to get in the game.
But if it's close,
you're going to play. You're going to play to win the game. And the one thing I told Steve on his show, I was like, you want to be balanced, of course. You want to establish to run because if they take a CE Lamb away, you're playing next week regardless of being at home, of course, being a 2 seed. But the thing is, you got to control the offense, Dave. You got to get that running game going because to me, I want to establish the run. I can see a lot of run this week because our downfall, Dave, is the running game this year. We have the passing game.
It's been our downfall our season. I mean, Pollard is not what we thought he was going to be.
No, I want to see the running game. I mean, Rico's banged up this week too. He's still questionable, which tells me Vaughn is going to be an outside runner, of course. A lot of screens, but you got to establish this running game.
I want to see a lot of Shoemaker. I want to see a lot of Ferguson. That's what I'm looking at.
I think it's going to be a lot of, take away Lamb. I think this week is probably going to be more the tight end. Dave, if I'm looking at, my bold prediction for the last 3 weeks, which we'll get into, we'll get into that in a second here. But what scares me the most is Mike McCarthy's play calling again. this is going to be an NFC East battle, no matter what people say, regardless of injury,
It's
regardless
still
of
a
anything.
division game. Exactly.
It's going to be a little bit closer. I don't think it'd be that huge, one-sided victory here. I don't see that, regardless of who. You look at the Eagles, you look at the Giants. Okay, how the Giants play the Eagles. We'll see that this week. They're banged up. They're going to.
I looked how Arizona played the Eagles on Sunday.
Right.
That's what I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but in like NFC East, we all know it's about division rival. It's about pride. Well, we split with you. What better way to split with the division winners or take away the division, the title from them, give it to another team that we beat in Week 18. But what scares me the most, Dave, is Mike McCarthy's play calling. He has to be balanced. He has to establish what Dallas Cowboy is. To me, of course, I already know we're a passing team. We're pass happy. We play better.
That's what we do.
Going into the playoffs, Dave, when you're playing elite defenses, okay, you're playing teams that take away your number one wide receiver, play great in the secondary. Got to establish run. You can't just be a one-dimensional team. You got to play both sides here. You got to offensively run the ball. You got to throw the ball. I think he's going to establish the run first, and I think it's going to open up the play action downfield more.
I totally agree with that.
I hope.
I want to see pressure on Sam Howell. I want to see him make bad decisions. I want the defense to get at least 2 turnovers for touchdowns.
Okay.
I hope the weather doesn't play a factor. That's what scares me the most.
What's the weather down there right now?
It's supposed to snow Saturday night into Sunday.
Oh wow! Because I know we're getting 6. We're getting 6 inches.
But it's supposed to be clear come game time at that point.
Okay.
That's what, because they're talking about a major snowstorm coming here Saturday night. I don't know how big it is, but it could be. It's a hit or miss, I guess. What they're saying.
I mean, that takes away a lot of what your scheme was, of course, because Dallas has struggled with the offense running the ball in a game like that.
Struggled on grass all year.
Well, I mean, on turf, if you play on turf, snow, it's a little different animal, different breed of game scenario. But that throws everything out the window, because that comes down to, yes, their defensive line isn't the greatest. They lost, of course, their defensive ends, Sweat, lost Chase Young too. But they do have a quality. You're in the NFL for a reason, number one. So if you play that, it kind of creates this different scenario where that running game for Dallas is not there, Dave, and that's kind of an opportunity for us.
It can be there. It's just not there right now.
Well, Dave, it's Week 18 and we haven't found it yet. You know what I mean?
This is true. I know.
I mean, I know. As a coach, Dave, you always say
this could be a Tony Pollard day. I don't know. I mean,
hell, I've been saying that for 18, 17
It could be a Rico. Well, Rico. I think Rico will be back on Sunday.
I hope so, because they do miss him. They need a bigger back.
I keep hearing he's getting better every day. So.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, progress from week 1 to week 2 to all the way to week 17. Well, Dave, we're in the last week of the season here, and my man is still averaging 2.1 yards a carry, Dave.
I know. Well, they they put Deuce on the IR, and they brought in
Malik Davis.
No. I forget who it was. It wasn't a running back. It was another player. I can't think of his name right now.
Who? The linebacker?
No. I can't think of his name.
Because I know they're going to make it most likely for
they put Deuce on the IR. I know that, and they brought in somebody to, not as a running back, but they brought in another position player to take his spot.
Right. I mean, I can think. What do you think about Lineman Collins coming back?
I love it. I think it's a good thing. I really do, because it can't hurt. He knows our offense.
But I'm going to ask you something real quick.
He's more mature than he was when he was with us before.
True. But here's the thing. Okay. It kind of makes sense to me for a depth move on the offensive line, because in the playoffs, you got to play, big boy football on the line of scrimmage. I get that. But here's the thing, Dave. He doesn't play left side of the field. He only plays the right side, Dave.
Right side. Yeah, well,
so Terrence Steele and Zach Martin. Why? What was the move here? I'd rather go out and get a left side player. Tyler Smith, who's banged up this week, still playing. I'd rather have someone on the left side, because I don't trust Chumadoga.
No, I don't trust Chumadoga either.
So, I mean, it was a good move. It was a good move.
I think it's a good move, because, like I said, he knows the offense. He's been here before. Him and Dak he protects Dak with we've seen that before.
Yeah, but why would you bring a depth player for Terrence Steele, or he can play guard, he can play he can kick him out to tackle if he needs to play.
Isn't what's it called injured right now?
Who?
Doesn't he have that foot problem?
Who?
I
Zach?
can't think of his. No.
Left side, right side. Which one? Left?
I want to say right side.
Terrence Steele's fine.
Not Terrence Steele.
Zach Martin's on the right side.
No.
Then you're going to the left side. You're talking about Tyler Smith.
No. Who am I missing?
Uh,
Who's got the plantar fasciitis injury?
I don't know. I got arthritis. I don't know.
No, somebody has a foot injury, but that's why he's not.
Yeah, but they're not a starter though, right?
Yeah, I think he is.
You're only talking about Tyler Smith, Tyron Smith, Baez, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele.
Okay, maybe it's Steele.
The only one banged out right now is going to be Tyler Smith. He is still questionable but practicing.
Tyler Smith, that's what it is. Yes.
Okay, but then again, why would you go out and get a right guard, right tackle? Suffice two positions on the right side, and your banged up player is Mr. Universe coming up in the future, Tyler Smith. You need that left side because
Tyler's got the foot injury.
Do you really believe in Josh Ball, or do you really believe in?
It would be Tyler. It would be Tyler. It would be Bass if anybody.
Bass, exactly. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, Bass would be right. Bass, exactly.
I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy. With that. Go out and get a right side player that can't play left. It's
according to McCarthy, he does play with his head. He's a smart dude. So,
yeah, but on the wrong side. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But also, Dave, there's one more name that I want to mention too. He can clear waivers tomorrow at noon. Dalvin Cook. Do you take a flyer?
Well, sure. Hey, whatever works. I mean, if you can't, I was thinking too. And I was thinking about this the other day. Why can't Zeke do the same thing Dalvin Cook's doing?
Here's the thing. There's a difference between Dalvin and Zeke. Okay, Dalvin Cook got his money already. Okay, he's going to play for a league minimum most likely. But just like Steve said, there's a word called audition. Okay,
but Dalvin Cook hasn't done nothing all season. That's what I'm saying. Zeke has.
Different thing here. Offensive line versus a Dallas Cowboy playoff team who's looking for the answer. A big back. Okay,
yeah, but
you need
Breece Hall's had a great season with the Jets. I don't understand why Dalvin Cook lost his job there. I mean, Breece Hall has been doing great.
There's a different thing. Breece Hall is your bell cow, right?
Look at Dalvin Cook's numbers. They had to get a touchdown all season.
Different scheme though, Dave. If Pollard, you know what? If to me, I'm going to Dallas. If Dallas does bring me in,
I'm not objected to it. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong.
I agree. If they bring him here, I think he's going to fit this offense a lot better. He's going to give you that Zeke.
He'll get his touches.
He'll get his touches, and I think he is that bruiser back where he's going to suffice because Pollard is not the answer right now. I hate saying I love Tony Pollard.
I'm with you.
But to me, he's not the answer right now.
I love his winning attitude. He wants to win all the time. I love that.
Yeah, well, you can want a winning attitude, but you got to go out and give me.
But he's always. I shouldn't say winning. I should say positive attitude. He's positive in everything he does. I like that.
Last year, Dave, we said it. You call it, he hauls it. Well, this year we call it. Well, you know what? You got a flat tire.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't carrying anything this year.
But I would like to welcome back Damian Wilson. He is back. That's good.
Who?
I think that's stop. Well, Damian Wilson.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's not going to see the field right now, though. Dave.
Right, he did. Well, he came, but he's on. They signed him to the practice squad.
Yeah, he's going to be a practice squad just in case of injury. You never know. Because
sure. I mean, it can hurt.
Yeah, playoff football. You get the rights to him. You can control him. You can control his management. Then
sure,
he's a depth move. That's no problem. I think Lineman Collins is the same way, just in case. Zach Martin has been, he's been banged up the last 2 weeks, Dave. No matter what,
he has. But like I said, you'll have a fresh Lineman Collins. Is not a bad thing.
He's a big body too. Big body, knows the scheme. Knows. I hate it. This sounds stupid, but he knows how Dak talks. He knows his.
Him and Dak know each other pretty well. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dave. Before we get out of here, how about we give a final score? Steve has a 42-17. Dave, what's
I'm going to go. I don't think 42 is. I think 31-17.
31-17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got 31-17. All right, I'm going to go a little bit closer. Probably. I'm going to go 31-20. Odd score. 31-22 Cowboys.
That's kind of an odd score. Okay.
I'm going to go a little bit odd there. I think there's going to be a couple. I think there's going to be a couple field goals in there. I think there's probably going to be.
I can see some Aubrey field goals in there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about 3 or 4 field goals for them. I'm talking about the other. I'm talking about Commanders.
Oh, Sly. Okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is too, if we do kick a field goal, I want Aubrey to make it because it's going to be the first time in NFL history that a player has gone 100% field goals. Hey, listen, I'm gonna jinx him here. You know why?
He's been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything called ice in this kid because this kid's awesome.
This kid, I'll tell you, he's a soccer style kicker. Nothing bothers him, and he just kicks it. It's like It's like Dak says, butter. I don't know. I call him automatic over. That's my man. I love him.
Yeah. I think
guess who got a job?
I got a job, actually. What's up?
I think Maher got a job.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me Maher is still in the NFL?
I believe he is.
Last I saw, my cousin said he was bagging.
I think the Rams brought him back. I think he's with the Rams.
Oh, my God.
I think. Don't quote me. I think that's what I heard.
Brett Maher. Woo.
Money.
Dave, leave it up to you. You know about these damn kickers. I'm telling you, brother.
I'm a kicker guy. What can I say?
That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a show just about kickers, David.
We should.
Hey, the Kicker Hour with Dave Yarnell.
There you go. The Kicker Hour.
Hey, kickers are people too. Eddie gives the final score 37-16.
I like that. I like that, Eddie. I like that a lot. I'm okay with that.
We're all in the area. Eddie.
I got 31-17. I'm okay with that.
I got them both 31. You got them 31, of course. I got 22. You got 17. Eddie's got them.
Let's just get the dub and get out of the Washington area. That's all I want to do.
All right, Dave. Last thing here. We always do it. Final. We already gave our final predictions here. Give me that bold prediction, Dave.
Bold prediction.
You already know what I'm going with, Dave.
I think defense has two pick sixes. That's what I'm thinking.
Or did you say 2?
Yep.
You got to give me at least one player. I'm probably going to go DeRon Bland, right?
Well, DeRon Bland, of course. I was thinking Jordan Lewis. To be honest with you, but that's just me.
All right, but you're going 2 picks, 1 with DeRon, right?
I think 1 DeRon. I think Jordan Lewis has 1 too.
Okay. You know what Eddie
says? Or Eddie a fumble run back to a touchdown. They've done that many times.
Eddie says it best. Bleep Maher. Exactly.
Bleep Maher.
Bleep Maher. You know what? While we're at it, screw Zerline too. It's Greg the Leg.
Greg the Leg.
Honestly, the only kicker that I actually miss is probably Nick Folk. Okay.
Folk, I like Folk too. I was a Folk guy.
He's probably the only guy that he was great. But then his last year, he kind of sucked, and he goes to the Jets, and this becomes an all-pro kicker.
I remember when we had Luis Sendejas, baby.
Oh, God. Mr. Celebration himself. Yeah.
Luis Sendejas, yeah.
Mr. Celebration. Okay.
And he was that good kicker for the Oilers. I loved him, too. Right. I was a fan.
And he's going bold prediction. He's going to say Mr. Jake has a touchdown. I'm going to take that
I think Jake has one, too. I hope he does. Does.
Eddie, I'm taking that one step further here. I'm still going to live with it. I think this is – Dave, I'm going to take it down a notch, though. I've been saying Hendershot, Shoemaker, and Fergie gets a TD. I'm going to take that down a level this week because I think it's going to be
you've been on the Shoemaker train for the past 3 weeks.
Hey, there's a great one really quick. Raphael Septien.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I can't think of the Oilers kicker. Why is his name escaping me?
I don't know.
He had that.
Wait, a kicker's name is escaping you?
Yeah, I can't think. It's blowing my mind. The guy he played for the Oilers. Oh my gosh.
I don't pay attention to kickers.
I loved his name. His name was great. I can't think of his name.
They're not people. They're not people, Dave.
A kicker is good as his last kick. That's why I look at it.
Well, that doesn't say a lot for Maher.
This is true.
All right, my bold prediction, Dave. I'm going to take it down a level here. I'm going to go Shoemaker.
Greco. What was his? I can't think of it. Greco. Oh God, why can't I think of it? It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
Hold that thought for next week, Dave. You bring that back to next week, okay? After we talk about a victory.
I will.
Okay.
I definitely will.
I'm still going to go 3 touchdowns, Dave. But I'm going to go Shoemaker, Ferguson. 3 total touchdowns between both of them.
Shoemaker, Ferguson. Okay, I like it.
3 touchdowns. If it happens with 3 tight ends, it happens.
Al Del Greco. That's who it was.
Dave, you and these.
Al Del Greco.
Dave, you know what? For Christmas, if I ever got the opportunity to buy you a Dallas Cowboy jersey, I'm buying you a damn kicker.
Do it. I love it.
You'd wear it too, wouldn't you? You'd rock that too.
I definitely would. Give me Maher. Give me Aubrey. I'm good.
I'd rock Aubrey too. I'd rock his too. Yeah. All right, Dave. Let's get final thoughts out here, brother.
Final thoughts?
Yep.
Okay. Let's get the win and get the heck out of Washington. Get the number 2 seed and off to the playoffs we go.
Wow, that was short and sweet, Dave.
Hey, man. Let's get the win and get the 2 seed, and whoever we play, Green Bay, whoever, New Orleans, I don't know, whoever it is.
Well, it's most likely going to be
I'm guessing Green Bay. That would be my guess.
It's most likely going to be a Green Bay, but still things have to fall into place, of course.
Here's the thing. Like I said, you get that 2 seed. You got home advantage for at least 2 games in the playoffs. And who knows? Maybe San Francisco will blow one. We'll get lucky.
Mm-hmm. Ken Fries checks in. He says, just get the win. Exactly. That's the final.
That's my point. Just get the win. Yep. What's up, big man?
Eddie says, Dave, I hated Tony Franklin.
Ball, God, the barefoot kicker.
Leaping Eagle.
Tony Franklin, the barefoot kicker. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. All right, Dave, before we get out of here.
Mike Vanderjack from the Raiders. I love him. Yeah.
Oh, my God, Dave. Before we get out of here, listen, I'll give over our sponsors, and I'll go over my final thoughts, of course. Guys, listen to me. MonkeyColdCoffee.com. Get your coffee out there at MonkeyColdCoffee.com. Use promo code OTBS Sports. Awesome flavors out there. I got to do the new banner. Of course, it just came out with a new flavor like 3 weeks ago. I've been lacking here with the New Year's. Bourbon chocolate chip, toasted coconut rum, submerged blend, newest flavor, organic plural Florida, and also the newest flavor out there. Reach out to monkeycoldcoffee.com. Use promo code OTBS Sports at the checkout. While you're there, make sure you get a coffee mug, T-shirt, cake cube, cold beer diffuser, whatever that you want. They got it. Make sure you use promo code OTBS Sports at the checkout at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Also, listen, Philadelphia sports fans, when you're upset right now, you lost to the Cardinals, you probably kicked the wall, you probably kicked your dog, the dog bit you, the neighbor's dog bit you, whatever the hell happened to you. You know what? Reach out to my guy, Jason 5, 1-800-HURT-123, attorney Big Al, motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims, and also he just added a new thing you can sue for. You're an Eagles fan. You've been lied to. You've been disgraced. You've been stereotyped that this is a team. Sue them. Call Jason 5, 1-800-HURT-123 for all you Eagles fans. And make sure you tell them Paul and Dave from Out of the Box Sports, the 215 boys, told you to call about this new Eagles lawsuit going around. Make sure you reach out to 1-800-HURT-123. 3 convenient locations, Cherry Hill, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. No recovery, no fee. Mention Out of the Box and the 215 boys. I just talked to Jason a couple of days ago. It's 30% now to January 31st. So not 33 and 30%, 30% if we take your case. So reach out to Jason Fine for all your legal needs. And
1-800-HURT-123, attorney Big Al.
You already know. Dave, my final thoughts before we get out of here. Clear and simple. Get the win. Control your destiny, because there's one thing I want to see this year. God, the quest for 6 can still be alive, Dave.
You want that division.
I don't want the division. I want the quest for 6.
Quest for 6.
You see that poster behind me, Dave, over there?
Let's get the division first, then we can work
Dave,
on that.
I don't play for division, Dave. You know that.
Well, hey, division, got to win division, get the home field.
That poster behind me, Dave, has so much dust on it, okay? Because I refuse to take it down until I get a Quest for 6 trophy, Dave. I want it so bad.
Quest for 6.
You know what, Dave? I need it. I want it because as a fan of Notre Dame, it's been since '88. In Dallas, my God, it's been 20.
I'm taking it one game at a time.
It's been 28 years, Dave. 28 years from
I
now. So
I know.
Go out, control your own destiny, as it says. Dallas Commanders, get the win, control your destiny, get the 2 seed, rest up, get the win. Let's go week by week.
And think of it this way. If you get the 2 seed, you get to sleep in your own bed. You don't have to worry about going on the road for another 2 weeks. So it's a good thing.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, real quick, hey, Dak
home cooking and your own bed. Can't beat that.
Well, Dak, listen to me. I want to say something you did. It's like Dave said. It's a great thing out there. If you're going to win this game, of course we will. You're going to be at home sleeping in your own bed. Brother, give me one of those sleep number beds, Dak. If you're listening to me, brother. I have a bad back. You know what? Hey, I want to know what it feels like to be a winner and sleep in a sleep number bed.
Oh,
so, Dak, if you're listening out there, sponsor me, please, because I got a bad back. I need one too, Dak. I want to know what it feels like to sleep. I sleep at home, but I want to sleep in a good bed too, brother. So if you're out there listening, Dak, hook me up with sleep number 2, brother.
Home cooking, you get to sleep in your own bed. It's not a bad thing.
Dave, you know damn well he don't cook at his own house. He's got that gourmet shit.
I'm just saying it's a home cooking, no matter how you look at it.
But Dak, if you need a home cook, let me know. I cook great shit. Let me know.
I'm sure his wife is doing just fine.
Well, I'm sure she is. She ain't one for anything, Dave.
Well, being pregnant, I'm sure she's hanging in there. So.
Dave, she's got like 5 guys this hand and toe. Like, what do you need? I got you. What do you need? Yeah, I got you. Dave, listen. What life would it be? Like, what kind of life would that be, Dave?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Listen. Dave, you ready to get out of here, man?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
We've been on way too long.
You already know. This is the Dallas Cowboys show. This is the 215 Boys. My name is Paul Spencer. That is Dave Yarnell, the showstopper. We'll be back on now. Dave, you're not going to be on this for the pregame show, correct?
I will not. I'll be at the game, so I cannot be.
All right, I will be on. I'll do a pregame.
You're
show.
on your own, bro.
Hey, no problem. I'll do the pregame show. The game starts at 4:15. I'll probably do it around 3:15. Get you ready for the game here, Dave. We'll go on a little bit later. If you're not home by then, I'll do it by myself.
I won't be home for. I won't be home for like maybe 9.
Well, you know what? As long as if it's a good scenario, which I think we will, I'll do the post game show. Either way, I'll do it no matter what. So make sure you tune into that post game, pre-game show for the 215 Boys. We'll just make it the 215 Boy. Okay?
I'll be up with God freezing my butt off in
that's
section
all right,
418.
Just do me a favor, Dave. Don't get thrown off the damn balcony, okay?
I will try not to. I'm
not there, Dave. So don't get thrown off the balcony.
Okay? Well, call Jason if I need him.
Dave, the problem is he can't help you down in there, brother.
Hey,
He can't help you down there, brother. That's not his jurisdiction, But
I got you.
Just be safe out there. And Cowboy Nation, let's go out and control our destiny. Let's get this win.
I think the stadium's gonna be full of Cowboy fans. So I think I'll be okay.
I hope so, Dave. Just say I'm a Cowboy fan. That's all you gotta say, man. All right. All right. So we're out of here, guys. We'll be back. I'll be on the pregame show at 3:15 next week, 3:30 next week, and also the postgame show. Until then, let's go Cowboys. And Dave, as we always get out here, what do we always say?
Happy New Year to everyone, and go Boys, go.
You already know. See you next week.
See ya.